basically his express lanes. It really, and I thought, oh, well, we'll look forward to seeing it, okay, and it never surfaced. It never surfaced, and why, I don't know.
Well, Charlotte built the CFI,
Yes, we know about
and
that.
they got an award, so.
Oh, that's, oh, I didn't know that part. I know the residents don't like it.
Right.
We are calling to order the uh, work session for the Village Council of March 24th at 2020 and 2026. The first item we have is general business, item 2. We have 3 items, and we'll begin with item A, the celebration of 20 years as a Tree City USA Community and Arbor Day. Doug, do you want to advise us all here?
Congratulations to Pinehurst. We have now reached 20 years of being a Tree City USA. And we're going to celebrate that a little bit. So before our next meeting, we are kind of getting in the habit of throwing mini parties before we have council meeting.
Yes.
So I think we're going to do that same thing to celebrate 20 years of the. And then on April 23rd, which is actual Arbor Day, the Pinehurst Elementary is doing a exhibit, a class out in the Arboretum that we'll be a part of.
Oh, yeah.
And a local conservationist is going to present that. And then on our April 24th meeting, we'll do a formal Arbor Day proclamation from the council. So that's just kind of a.
So okay, the Thursday is the 23rd and 24th is Friday. So the proclamation deals with, yes. And one question, you may not know the time of day of the celebration at the Arboretum? You can let us know that? Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, let us know the time and maybe some of us can make it. Barb, I assume the beautification committee has a big role to play here?
It hasn't come up yet, but
Can you check
it
on that?
probably will in the next meeting.
Okay.
We're focused right now on the rain garden.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So I don't think you need anything from us here, do you? Informational. Okay, well, this is good news for the Village of Pinehurst. We're very happy. I'm sure Kevin was very happy. My favorite tree counter, the guy who told me we have 550,000 trees. Yes. No. Yeah, we all like trees. So anyway, that's great news. And I'd like the idea of the invitation to Ranger BB? Okay, that's great. All right, our next item is an update on IAPs, and I know that's big on your agenda, Doug, so go right ahead.
Yeah, and we talked just last month about an update from the previous quarter. But this is kind of an opportunity for council if you have any additional questions. I put specifically 2 on here, the library and redevelopment of Village Place. So if you have any questions, just let me know. But the library is moving forward. You can see they've been clearing land. We have ongoing meetings with them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything so far is as it should be.
Okay, well, that's good news. And I think that's a very useful to have that on the website. So if anyone asks any of us, we can direct them to the website. Though I have had conversations with people who said they've driven by, so they see the activity, and that's it. Yeah, so that's a good sign.
And then on the archives end, we had a meeting today with the architects to specifically discuss, building envelope size and should it expand or not expand. And we were going to really drill into that, come up with very accurate cost estimates to give us an idea of what it really would cost. And if we end up not expanding, is there other ways that we can incorporate some of those office space or break room somewhere else in the building that doesn't take away from corporate?
Right. Okay, well, we'll look forward to that. Is on either of those, the library or the archives, is it something that will be on the next agenda in some capacity? Well, I mean, if you think we'll have, when will we see them, our architects on the?
So I think we will have them come before us again to have that final decision on whether or not we want to expand the envelope.
Okay, so it's within the next month or so, or, yeah, okay, that's great.
Just another thing on that, we tentatively decided upon a consultant to help us plan the exhibits that will be in the museum. So we had, I think, 6 maybe proposals that we received. There's one that we
Okay, we'll look forward to seeing that. Okay, now Village,
Two follow-ups just on that.
Go ahead.
One, having just created the Senior Advisory Commission, do we need to actually have someone start thinking about a Friends of the Library?
well, we do, and we need to do that as Friends of the Archives too, but I think what we really need to settle on is sort of the governance idea and how that would evolve. The answer is yes, but we need to get it right.
We actually have policy documents and things already prepared, so close to just saying, putting it up to air out and see if it's.
Okay, when you think it's ready, go ahead and share those documents so we can get thinking as to,
Are you finished with yours?
Just with the library, yes.
Is there another one?
Village Place.
Okay, I'll hold till the end then.
go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't turn my microphone on, but, thanks, Paul. Okay, so Village Place redevelopment, as you're probably aware, we have a RFQ out for real estate advisory services to help us, make sure that the financials are in line and that what we want to do, the village is protected and anything moving forward. So those are due by the end of the month, and so hopefully we'll have a contract coming before the council next month, depending on what the price is. And that's really the point we are at now. We need to get some firm development plans so we can do some surveys and come up with some appraisals, but that's a little bit down the road.
Has there been any, aside from what you just mentioned, has there been any other new efforts regarding the people who may own property in that Village Place area now? We know that one single-family home is under development across from the Bright Speeds.
Right.
So but is there anything else going on with that other properties? Or?
Yes, so the ones very next to the water tank property, there's been conversation with them to try to develop a cohesive development for the water tank property. And then we've had high-level conversations with the lot that has been cleared next to the brewery. They're interested in participating, but to what level still needs to be worked out.
Interesting note on the county commissioners meeting as well. Their safety director did speak to them about the EMS position. They did state that they would be gone on the 27th, or gone before their time runs out on the current agreement. So.
And they actually appropriated funds to start actually working on
2.5 million.
this.
I saw that. Yeah, so they're moving ahead, which is good.
Yeah, I believe our agreement gave them 2 years to move, and I have to double check when that 2-year time clock actually started.
Yeah, they just stayed their head of
they're,
schedule.
yeah, they're definitely moving forward.
Yeah, they're serious about it, which is great.
So a question on our Village Place redevelopment. Do we have a scope yet of that construction? Maybe was it provided in the RFQ, or of what maybe we may be looking to happen there in general?
So no, before we really got that far into it, I wanted to have the advisor on board.
Okay, no, I was just be catching up to that topic. Thank you.
By the way, just apropos of another, something coming down the line, not so much in Village Place, but in Pinehurst South. I drove by there, it might have been a week or so ago, and the formerly what appeared to be abandoned carpet retailer has now got a fresh face on it, and there's somebody doing something in there, so, which I was surprised at.
Which abandoned, which one?
It used to be a carpet store or
Yeah.
tile or.
On the east side of Pewley Hill Road, NC5, south of Blake Boulevard.
South of Lake Boulevard. Oh, further down.
Yeah.
Further down.
I know where
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it had been abandoned for 6 months or maybe longer, and all of a sudden, the facade's been refreshed, and it's a I can't remember, it's a 4-letter title on the building, and somebody's doing something there.
like it's Asian, or it's some sort of an Asian concept or something. I do recall that the owner of the building apparently was the carpet guy, and he obviously closed his business, but he retained ownership of it and wanted to rent it, and it was being advertised from a business rental scenario. So
That's good.
sorry, just some spec.
I do believe that there is an application in development for the Pinehurst South area. I mean, they met with us and told us their intentions for that area. So hopefully we'll see something come forward soon.
In this same sort of area of discussion, there was a meeting held here regarding the
Woodhaven?
15501 North 55-plus community, and what's the next steps, or?
Yeah, so that's the Woodhaven concept is what they're calling it. So they will submit an official application. That'll go through the TRC process, the Technical Review Committee. Then it'll go to Planning and Zoning for a recommendation, and then eventually it'll come before a council.
Okay, that's good, progress. We'll get to see it. Anything else in the IAP area? Questions for Doug or topics? No. Okay, go ahead.
We have an IAP for next fiscal year looking at some different aspects of stormwater management.
Yeah.
And in following up with Mike on the couple that had been raised more short-term, he said that we are likely to address 6 or 8 or 10, whatever it is. As I thought about that more, and it's probably something Mike's already thinking about, in at least one of the cases, and probably more, I think there's a recurring maintenance obligation that is ours because the issue's in our right-of-way. And after any big storm, these areas are going to fill up again and cause blockages or cause the storm water to not go where we want it to go. And I just want to be sure that we are thinking about it not only as an IAP for sort of a study, but as an ongoing maintenance item.
Yeah, and we do have the stormwater technician that was recently hired, and that is part of their duties is to go out, inspect things, see what things need work. There are maintenance schedules for cleaning up, like catch basins and things like that. So it's not like we're not doing it now, but there are probably opportunities for improvement.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, now we have an update on Granicus and STR monitoring. Doug?
Yes, and I don't think any of this is going to be new to council, but just kind of wanted to put it all in one place and kind of recognize what we're doing to monitor and enforce the existing ordinance. So the first thing we do is monitoring rental activity. So through the Granicus software, we can go in there and see how many are currently renting. That software can also give us their best estimate on how many nights that someone has stayed at any of those rentals. So from that, we can determine which ones have exceeded the 14-day period and would be classified as a short-term rental. So from there, we go through that list and we see which ones have existing non-conforming use certificates or have been confirmed to be grandfathered or legal non-conformings from the prior to the ordinance going into effect. So from that, we send out notices of violation. Last year, we sent out approximately 20 of those. We've been working through either clearing them up, and they have either been confirmed that they are a legal non-conforming use, or they have, in some cases, stopped operating. And in a couple of cases, we're still awaiting some more documentation from them on whether or not they really are a legal nonconformity. So that's kind of how that works. Any questions on specifically us monitoring for the 14 days?
Am I correct that the total units identified now is less than it was a year or two ago? I'm trying to remember the number, so I can't.
Yeah. So we had a local resident that was kind of keeping track of them.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I believe they had it at roughly 700 short-term rentals. So this goes through and sees which ones are actively advertising for space.
Okay.
So some of those, if you look at all of them that have ever advertised, it's more like 1,000 in our community. But currently active rentals is 533. And that 1,000 includes anyone who rented their house for 2 weeks during the US Open, so they may not be actual short-term rental on a normal basis.
We're actually 4 down because the last thing that was on Hot Topics was 537.
It could vary daily, but that's good. We got 4 down.
That's fine. Well, that's a good number to just be familiar with, because it,
Once upon a time, we thought the number was in the 300s somewhere. And Granicus allowed us to identify a number, and it turns out that many of them were, if not most of them, were operating prior to adoption of 2215.
Yeah. And I will say the software is good. It has its limitations. So one example is it has to verify the address, and it does that by looking at publicly available pictures. So anything on Zillow is typically how they do it. But particularly with our condos that all look exactly the same on the outside, it is very difficult to determine which one is actually the short-term rental based on the listing. So that is one thing that we've noticed is a slight issue.
okay.
I think just the point that I'm taking here is some citizens have shown some frustration that the ordinance may be eroding from the terms of effect and maybe from a T standpoint. But what I'm hearing a lot of and seeing is we've standardized a process, at least for measurement. And I think that some of the concerns have been that we've been fairly overly liberal when it comes to extending the NCUCs to people. And I know that, through our administration actions, we've made the best goal we can. But I think the point that we have is that we've standardized a process of measurement. You and I have talked about some STRs, or at least one in particular, that doesn't pop up in measurement.
Yeah.
We understand those are out there, and those will be addressed kind of as one-offs. Is that right? I think that's something that people need to hear.
Yes, so you're right that like I said, there's sometimes it doesn't pick it up in the software yet because, they haven't been able to identify the address, or maybe there's some other reason why it's not getting picked up by the software. If those are brought to us, we'll look into it. And sometimes we're able to go in and see, there's, over 15 reviews on this website, so we can obviously tell that you are operating as a short-term rental, and you'll receive a notice of violation. Most of the time, we don't necessarily get to the 15 because, I don't know, not everyone leaves a review, but that's one way we go in and check on it.
Can we go back to a point that was raised in the public comment period earlier? If I was advertising my 4-bedroom house for rent before the ordinance and advertising occupancy for 16, some number way above, I may have been advertising in advance of that, but I was still in violation of a separate ordinance having nothing to do with short-term rental. Well, why is that not enforceable?
I don't think you were in violation of another ordinance. We don't have a specific, utilization ordinance. If it gets to the point where we think it is beyond a safe environment for anyone living there, then we could go in with police powers.
I thought we did. I thought we made changes to this 2 adults changing to 2.
Yep, yeah, so that is in the short-term rental ordinance.
That's just in 2215. That did not apply generally prior.
Right.
Okay, so therefore, I wasn't that was not a non-conforming use that was otherwise enforceable.
Yeah. And there are not that many that have more than 2 guests per bedroom that are listed. There are a few, and I've gone through and we know that which ones those are. We have noted that they were in existence before the ordinance went into effect. But I also didn't see any that were outrageous. A lot of times it's like, yeah, there's 2 per bedroom, and then there's also a sofa bed.
So as a generic question, does Granicus help us identify something that we cite as a non-conforming use, but which could have been a violation of an ordinance not related to short-term rentals? bad example. I mean, the noise ordinance is not a short-term rental ordinance. It applies to
Right.
everybody, all residents in Pinehurst.
Yeah, the Granicus software only pulls information from a listing, so, guests, number of guests, number of bedrooms, night stay, things like that. It doesn't pull like our police data in violations from municipal code violations.
Okay, thank you.
But that is something we can look at. And we have looked at that in the past, that the police chief will pull noise complaints and we'll see which ones are associated with a short-term rental nearby.
Have we actually fined anyone under 2215 that you're aware of?
So we have issued notices of violation, but either they have come into compliance or they have come into compliance.
Have we provided any violations at all, due to noise or due to any other infractions against our ordinance that states that we're going to keep track of the 3 violations and then there's possibility of pulling the NCUC?
So we wouldn't, yeah. So for noise ordinances, we have issued violations. I would have to double check to see if they were associated with a short-term rental address. From where I'm sitting now and from my best recollection, when we did this last time with Chief Webb, I don't believe any of them were associated with a written violation with a short-term rental address.
So, and I'm sorry for asking this again, you've already told me this answer once, but since then I've had citizens tell me that it's not happening. Whenever there is a noise complaint to our police department, is our police department, regardless of the measurement of decibels, are they visiting the offending, or not offending per se, but the property that the complaint was originated from? Just saying, hey, you are, you may not be over, but you're disrupting some
But the
neighbors.
neighbors had, yes. So they've been directed to do that. I'm not aware of a reason why they wouldn't do that, but they have been told to do that.
I just want to make sure that I'm spreading correct information. But just kind of the point of the SR-9 points, I made this before, is that's great opportunity at that point in time to establish, is there any violations of that can be noted from a police officer? So,
Yep. And
in a safe situation.
I mean, the police, they handle it very well. I mean, they do this a lot, that, they go out there and, yeah, hey, buddy, can you turn it down? Your neighbors complained, people are trying to sleep. I think they're good at managing that situation.
They really are.
Any comments? Anybody else on this topic? John?
Off this particular time, have we written any parking tickets and violations of the 3-hour, I guess I should say?
Yes, we have. I don't know the number, though.
That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Well, let's get Larry here next month.
Yeah, I tried to get him tonight, but.
All right. I'd like to hear from him.
I'm,
Local hero.
we always, or at least I always hope when we pass something that we don't have any violations.
Right.
But I'm glad to hear that the answer isn't 0, and I really don't care if it's 2 or 17.
Right.
Right,
So I'm
yeah.
glad it's not 0, so.
I know for sure because I received 2 appeals, so,
Well, that's good.
Denied.
yeah, they were, so.
That'd be, I forward to seeing Larry. Okay, what else?
A couple other things. So part of our ordinance also says that there's a discontinuation of the use if it's not used for 365 days. So through a very time-intensive process, I went through all of the 500 and so units that were advertising, and I went to make sure that there was no gap of more than 365 days from the available information in Granicus. There is a column that shows like, has any rentals happened in the last year? So I'm hoping that from now on I can just go and look at that column and I don't have to look at every single one because
Okay.
it was like a week of my life that I will not get back.
But that would have been virtually impossible without,
Certainly impossible.
right,
yeah.
and arguably not a great use of staff time as
No.
opposed to alternative uses. So I'm happy to hear that we can do it relatively time efficiently.
Yeah.
Great.
We've also installed the noise monitoring device as well, and I understand that no violations popped up, but have we learned anything else about how to use it, or do you have any sort of update for us on that?
Yeah, so it's mobile. It's currently not deployed right now. I had to change batteries or whatever, so I put it out on weekends.
Still learning at this point in
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
Put one in front of my house, I'll go yell at it.
I will put it at Jeremy's, yeah.
But yeah.
Okay,
We kind of talked about 3, the occupancy limits.
right.
Any additional questions there? The prohibited cooking facilities. So if we see something publicly available that shows a hot plate or whatever in a bedroom, we will take action on that, send a notice of violation. I have not seen that. And like I said, I looked at 500 and something short-term rental listings, so I've seen quite a few. And then there are the minimum housing standard SR9 regulations. That's like 1 through 6, which is like you have to have a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector. So we're going to treat those like any other residential use. If there's a reason that we believe that credible reason to investigate, we will. Otherwise, we'll take it on a case-by-case basis. So if a renter came to us and said, "Hey, I stayed at this unit, there were no smoke detectors," that would be something that we could address. And just kind of ongoing short-term rental management efforts. We have ordered signs that we're going to put up at the neighborhood entrances, just asking everyone to be good neighbors, keep it quiet
Right.
at night. Also telling them that you cannot park in the right-of-way. I think that's probably news for most guests that are visiting, that they don't realize that that is a rule. And we sent a letter out to all of the operating short-term rentals. That was a letter kind of asking them to inform their guests that they should be good neighbors. So that went out early March.
Oh, that's a good idea.
What else do I have on here? Yeah, I
When
think
do you
that's,
expect the neighborhood signs to be posted?
well, we ordered them through the Department of Corrections. And so it's supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks, and it has been 6 to 8 weeks, so.
Okay. Other questions for Doug on this topic?
Yeah, in general, I will just leave it as, I think we have a reasonable system that goes through and enforces this to the best of our ability with the information that's available within the legal constraints that we have. So I do think, people have some concerns and they have different opinions, but we understand that this is a priority of the council, that this is a priority of this council specifically, and has been for the last few elections. So we are trying to do everything we can to enforce this in a legal manner.
Okay. Well, thank you and the staff for their focus on this, and I do think that the amount of communications, at least I've received, has dramatically dissipated over the years, and we've got a bunch of things coming together for this, which is one, I think the STR owners have been a lot more attentive because they want to prevent problems rather than allow them to happen. And I think our residents have noticed less and less to be concerned about. And I think the general publicity has also reminded STR renters that, just try to be on your best behavior here. And of course, many of our ordinances apply to every household and every part of our village. And I think given the makeup of our village, there's a tendency to cooperate and be good neighbors all around. So I commend the staff and you in particular, Doug, for finding ways to use this Granicus software to make enable you to make even better decisions and quicker decisions, and hopefully get to less intense decisions that take up staff time. That's one of the key purposes for the software. So thank you. Okay.
And one other thing,
Go ahead.
just happy to note that at least some other people watched the presentation earlier tonight on the traffic circle. I have a a viewer who has written in to say that 28% of all of the roundabouts in the country have 2 travel lanes, and that number is growing. I don't know the source of that, but it's nice to know that we have impact. There are people out there watching and listening and responding, so I mentioned that.
We're a very circle-conscious community.
Obviously.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Carmel, right? Okay, I guess we're at the point, unless, Doug, do you have anything else you want to bring to our attention, or anything specifically you want to put us on notice for about the next meeting? Because I think we're 3 weeks away from our next meeting, am I right?
Oh, do we have a 5th Tuesday? This is like the best month of the year.
No, is that not right or not? I think
It's a 5th Tuesday,
Yes.
31st of March.
that's right.
Hey.
So, what, do you have a surprise for us in April?
Last time we talked about the regulating unpermitted work in the village, so that is something we plan on put on the work session for the next meeting.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the permanent.
Women's exchange.
The women's exchange.
Women's
is-
exchange,
yeah.
probably, yeah, by that time, it'll be ripe for discussion.
And then the annual survey, I think we will have.
We owe you some answers yet, don't we?
So I'm going to send out a draft. So we circulated amongst staff this past couple weeks. So we made a few slight changes, but I'll send it to council for.
That would be helpful, then we can get back, let's all get back to Doug as soon as we can, so if there's something we ought to put in.
Which-
And
I
I
mean-
would encourage us all to think about topics on which we want answers that have never been part of the survey. That's how we're going to make it more germane to us. And whether ETC cares about those answers or not, I don't care.
Sure.
They'll have their data, and we want ours.
Yeah, there's value in the data that we can track year over year, but there's also a lot of value in specific questions that are germane to hot topics or things like that right now. So I will have a few questions drafted for you, and you can tell me, yeah, I don't know if we want to put that out there, or you can suggest others as well.
Fair enough. Okay, anybody have anything they want to ask Doug to think about other than having Larry come here, or that we should discuss at the next one? No. All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
I move to adjourn the work session.
Motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Dallas.